So I'm going to go out and I'm going to pick another funding source now. And we're going to go down here and we're going to pick this one here. This one also has 2 applicants that have matched to it. So let's select it. Okay, now once I select it, again, there's that Karen Lynn. She also was matched to this Edith Dawson Nursing Scholarship, so she's listed here. But I see that I do have an applicant, this one here, under committee review. It does have a final award available. And so if I wanted to award, you'll notice here I have the score. If I wanted to see if there was scores taken on this specific fund, I could click the scores and see the score history. None of my reviewers have finished scoring, so right now it is 0%, and there isn't a score. So more than likely in a real awarding, I wouldn't be funding them yet because I don't have a score. But if there was a score, it would give their score figure here. Also, something to make note of is when you are looking at the scores, remember if you are scoring and you have different scorecards for each individual fund has its own scorecard. When you are looking at the total scores here, you do want to go to the filter, and then when it says filter by review task, if you have a specific scorecard for this specific fund, you would want to select that score sheet only, because right now it's giving me the combined scores across all the reviews that this applicant was in. So of course, if this applicant matched to 3 different scholarships, they've got 3 different scores, and these totals would be giving me the scores to all 3 of them. So of course, I would want to make sure I selected that review task, and then it would just give me the scores for that specific review task. Now it does give you the total score and the average score. So the average score is the total divided by the number of reviewers that reviewed this specific applicant. And if I didn't have this set to that specific score card, then it would be giving me the average across all the reviewers across all scorecards. And if you have automated scoring, which this one does, that would show in this column here as well. So if I wanted to see if he matched to any additional awards, again, I can come here and hit matching awards. And I can see if he was in any other funding sources. And I know he hasn't been funded any yet because he does say under committee review. And it doesn't show that he's received any additional awards on this specific fund. So if I decide I do want to go ahead and award him, I could go ahead and click this award applicant here. But I'm going to go out for a minute because I do want to touch on something else. If I click on this little icon here, it's going to take me to the same place as in the other screen. But I want to go here back to the award applicant details, and then I want to talk about these award questions. So let's say I have a long list of applicants and I'm looking at their scores and they're very similar, but maybe I have questions in my application form that are maybe tiebreaker questions. When you build that question, you can actually say in the build of the question, when building questions, there's a show on awards screen, and that's for manage awards. This is the multiple fund manage awards functionality. And if you say yes on that question to show on awards screen, then when I hit this little question icon, it would then show me that question and then how that applicant answered it. In this specific instance, he didn't answer that question, so that wouldn't be something that I could match him to, but it would give you all those questions. You're allowed to pick 20 different questions from your application form that then gives you the details on that. Now, here you see applicant and then email ID. Now, there's a little difference on the grant side I'm going to go ahead and show. So let me go home and go into the grants application form here. And then go into the multiple funds. And then let's pick one of these funds here. Let's pick the health funding. See what we got here. And then if I here you can see I have an additional couple of columns. I have the organization, because remember grants are to organizations, so that's why it's a grant site. And then you also have, if you're using this program name, you also have the program name column that will give you the name of the program that you're going to be awarding, so that you can tell, okay, this is the program, this is the organization, and then this is what they're awarding. And again, you have the award questions. So you can see there's the questions and then how they answered them. And then you can also see maybe their program goes across a couple of different interest areas. You could actually click here. I'm sure there's not one set up in here like that, but here you can see then they just have this one fund here. And then this is just the generalized funding source that's connected to this, that in this specific illustration it's here, but more than likely you would not have that in your setup. Okay, so that's the grant site. You can see it's very similar. So if I go back to the scholarship, remember when I was here in matching awards, I did say that little icon would take you to the same screen when you're looking at all the awards this Anthony has been connected to. So if that's the same button as this one here, the award applicant. So when I'm ready to award this applicant, I would click this icon, and I would see any awards that he's already received. And then when I'm ready to award him this specific award, and this is now I'm not on just that one award. You can see it no longer has that award name. I'm actually on Anthony's screen. And any of the award questions that I've brought in will also be listed here. And then when I'm ready to award, I click the Add Award. And then this is the screen that will open up. And when all I need to do to award is there's an initial award column and a final award column. Now the initial award column is a means to just add an initial award. Maybe I want to present this to my board. I want to go ahead and award them and then present it to the board first, get the board approval, and then come back here and then enter the final award. The initial award also allows me to enter an award and then maybe have time to notify the applicant and then come back in here and enter the final award. Now, the final award, the difference between these two is if I was to enter an initial award, you'll see here if I enter the initial award, remember his status is under committee review. I'm just going to bypass the rest of these. We'll talk about that in a minute and go ahead and hit save. But you'll see here that when I do that, here, it does show that he's still under committee review. So I'm going to go ahead and go back in and add the award. And I'm going to do this, 500. And then here for the final award, if I enter a final award of 500 here, and then I was to hit save, his status is going to go to selected for award. But I just want to touch on some of the other items we see here. So here we can add a comment in regards to this award. And when it goes to final award and their status moves to selected for award, the functionality that happens to the applicant, what happens is when they are at selected for award status, you may have specific sections on your dashboard or on the application form itself that are triggered to appear when the applicant gets to that selected for award status. So if they're at that selected for award status, then those sections are now going to be present on their application form. We do have another training about post-accepted sections and acceptance sections, how those do appear to the applicants, and how you use those, and how you can actually maybe even make them inactive if you don't want them to appear right away to the applicants. But then know, though, that as soon as they are selected for an award, if they are active, those will start appearing. Also, what happens on their dashboard is there's an accept button that will appear when you put them to selected for an award. So that's what happens when you award. But here are some of the fields. This is the comment field, and the rest of these fields here will not be present on your specific site. But this is just an example of specific fields in the site settings. In administration site settings, there's an award section. And if you wish to enter that information in these specific fund awarding screens, you can activate fields in the administration site settings under the awards site settings. There's fields that you can activate that will show on the screen if you want to have additional information to add to that applicant when you're awarding, some additional information you want to capture. And then of course these fields, when you do ad hoc reports, these fields would then be available in those ad hoc reports as well. And then the is renewable you would have. So if this is a scholarship and it's renewable, you might maybe want to use the manage renewal applicants, where it'll help you track by date on this application process. It'll can create a manage renewal applicants report. And so if I was to say yes to this, it then just asks me what's the renewal date, when does it end, how many years is it renewable, and that sort of thing. These fields right here are those ones that would work in relationship to that renewal report. And so this is where you would populate those. So I'm just going to go ahead and say no to this one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down. I'm going to hit save here. And when I hit save, you'll notice he's now selected for award. And it does show his award down here in the bottom screen. And then it'll now show on this fund, it will show 5,000, 4,500, and then 500 available to award. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and give him another one while I was on the screen and I knew what that funding source was that I wanted to award him, I could always go back in here to add award. And right now, since I went in through the Edith Dawson Scholarship, it has that as my funding source, but I could actually select this and I could pick another one that I knew he matched to, and then I could go ahead and award him in that one as well. So that's just another way, like if you have an applicant and you want to do several awards to that applicant, you don't want to keep going into all the individual funds, you can actually do it from here. But you do want to make sure it is a fund that he is matched to, because the system at this stage right now would not let you know that he's not matched to it, and it would let you award him that figure. So you would want to use caution using it from here. So then, of course, once I'm done awarding, this is what I see. I see the details in regards to the award I just entered, as well as if I had any of those other fields activated, I would see the replies to those. And then these are additional fields in the fund setup that were built into the fund setup itself on this site, that were custom fields that are the same type of situation in the administration dashboard. For the manage application forms in the administration dashboard, there is fields that you can activate for your funding sources as well, and those would show on this screen if you activated those. Those have to be manually activated, and then you can name them what you want it to be. Okay, so then let's say I've awarded, so that's how you do the awarding. You locate the fund, you award the applicants by clicking the add award on each individual applicant. If I wanted to go back and see another applicant, I can click this back to awards applicant details. And then I could go to those awards, or then I can jump back to here to manage awards, and then I can maybe go to another funding source. Maybe I want to do the Brian Bowman. Click on it. There's no applicants matched to that, so I would go out, of course. And maybe I want to do this one, Frackleton, and see who's matched to that. And so we have a couple of different applicants matched. Now this one here is an example of the score. Here's Patricia Cruz. She has her total score 24, average score 24, automated score 79. So this is her score information. Again, I can get that from clicking the applicant score here, and then see the individual reviewers and see if they're done reviewing. If they're not done, I more than likely would not want to score or award her. Go back to award applicant details. I can go to her matching awards. And see that she is matched to some additional funding sources. And then I could go ahead and select here if I wanted to award her here. And then I can then again add the award. and then hit save. And then she is now awarded that amount. So here's the award that she's received. And she is selected for an award. So I know that that information, if I have any additional information activated, any sections activated, she will now get those sections. So that's how you award using the multiple funding functionality.